RNZ, in their story over the weekend on Mediawatch, was saying that the media is shifting blame for misleading tax policy headlines. Who do you think they're shifting the blame to, Chewy?
Is it us?
They're shifting the blame to the National Party for not being clear. However, very, very, very little introspection is going on as to how they actually magnified and amplified those national talking points with no criticism whatsoever. Let's have a listen to Colin Peacock over the weekend in Mediawatch.
Nevertheless, TVNZ's political editor Jessica Much Mackay said back then the Nationals' Big Bang tax announcement was a good political move. Senior political correspondent Tova O'Brien said that Nationals finance spokesperson Nicola Willis should get a standing ovation for it. And Newshub's political editor Jenna Lynch told her viewers this.
This is a masterclass in political marketing.
Now, just so we're clear, we're talking about...
Flammery.
Just so we're clear, I'm sure people are aware, but in case you're not, we're talking about a month and a bit ago when National relieved their tax policy. This is what we're talking about.
National has taken what is, in reality, a $25 a week tax cut for most.
So this is the mainstream media's coverage of when that tax release came out.
Most mid-learners, doubled it into a couple, doubled it into a fortnight, slapped their childcare subsidy in there, and all of a sudden they have a $250 figure to slap all over the billboards.
And as we've just heard, the media slapped it all over their headlines as well.
Yep.
And when the first TVNZ Leaders debate aired in mid-September, Deputy Political Editor Mikey Sherman dropped National's preferred figure into her analysis like this.
He didn't hit back and he didn't kind of tack on other policies that Labor is promising that could beef up that whole package for families, like National has done with its $250 a fortnight package for those squeezed middle that they're talking about.
So the commentary goes on, right? And they start talking about this conversation that happened and how National came out with their policy. And of course, I'm gonna play you what we said about it 24 hours after it was released. Remember us little pissants who don't know what we're doing at the bottom of the South Island, us little guys who don't have the same sort of funding or access that these mainstream media guys do. But what happened when it was released, you've just heard, they were all like, this is genius, this is amazing, $250 a week to the average family. Well, when the CTU last week released the numbers around 3,000 households, all of a sudden the mainstream media started going, why weren't you giving us the correct information, National? That's your job, journalist, to dig, as opposed to just amplify National Party talking points without criticism. So the conversation goes on Mediawatch. So it comes out that there's only 3,000 households, right? And a lot about the up to $250, which the mainstream media ignored for weeks. And that childcare rebates are only from 2 to 5. That was we actually released that, because when the CTU came out, they just said cut childcare. Remember, we last week reminded you that it's pre-primary school childcare. Even the CTU doing God's work didn't say that in their analysis. They just said childcare. So all this is becoming aware now. Fucking Chris Hipkins himself came out and said, we found out today that a month after so Labor didn't do the numbers, the media didn't do the numbers, and now the media is blaming National for not giving them all the information to put in their fucking headlines. Because what the media does is they get National's talking points, and I suppose probably Labor's talking points, and they just print that as the headline. Mainstream media don't go any deeper at all, and then when it gets proven that they didn't give us good information, they try and blame National for that. It's National's fault that we didn't dig any deeper.
Newshub political reporter Amelia Wade seized on those CTU figures when they came out this week, and she was clearly frustrated when trying to confirm the 3,000 households claim with the National Party.
We sent the Council of Trade Unions numbers and workings in my story there to the National Party today in good faith so that they had adequate time to respond. But instead of responding, they fired off a conspiratorial PR trying to pin that on the Labor Party.
And when Nicola Willis did finally confirm the figure the next day on RNZ's Morning Report with Charlotte Cook, she said that the National Party had been careful to say all along households would get up to $250 a fortnight, but not careful enough for News Talk ZB News later that same day.
Luxon denies he's being disingenuous.
We've always said, look, up to $250.
But he hasn't always said that. Here's Luxon in the
No.
first TVNZ leaders debate where he didn't use the words up to.
Oh my
I'm going to give them tax
God.
relief. For an average household income family with young kids, that would mean $250 a fortnight, and that would make a huge difference to them.
So, but this is the point, and it'll keep going in this conversation. The media is now jumping on National for not saying up to, yet they're the ones that were amplifying the headlines, which I'll show you shortly, not saying up to. We told you the day of it was up to. Mainstream media didn't, and now they're crying foul at National for misleading them. We found it, we read it, we saw it. They didn't. They get paid to be journalists. We do this as a joke. Hey, Chewy, this is just a jape for us. They get paid to do it, and they didn't read it properly. We did, and we'll show you shortly.
And on News Hub at 6 that same night, political editor Jenna Lynch wasn't satisfied either.
We've always said, look, up to $250 a week for an average household income with young children.
Except they haven't always.
It does give an average income household family with young kids $250 extra a fortnight.
On Thursday, Jenna Lynch went on to say this.
Yeah, effectively what they were doing with all of that up to 250 is like an old retail technique, having an up to 80% off sale and then only having one item in the store worth that. The
Why didn't you say that when they said it back then, Jenna Lynch, and all the other mainstream
rest of
media?
the store is only 10% off.
Though that was a bit of a crude comparison, and National's tax calculator would show that other families could still get substantial benefit, if not the maximum. But while she was at it, Jenna Lynch also pointed out that that online calculator didn't specify that the childcare rebate only applied to early childhood education costs
we
for
said
under
that.
5-year-olds, and the National Party then amended their tax calculator after she pointed that out. So good for voters and viewers to have more clarity and accuracy on that. But 1 month on from the launch of National's tax cut policy, Jenna Lynch was clearly no longer as impressed with what she had deemed a political marketing masterstroke when it was first unveiled.
$20 just isn't enough to buy a vote in this economy. All of the focus groups say so, but $250, that is massive money. Genius.
Reflecting on all this on News Talk ZB last Thursday, the network's political editor Jason Walls said that the moral of the story for us was voter beware.
On the one hand, like, yes, obviously this is a trick of marketing. You say up to, and
or you don't say it.
People have to work it out themselves. Like, yes, there is this 0.18, which is really small. I mean, you would have thought it would have been a...
Remember, that's our number. We said that first, 0.15. Yep. We were the first to say that. Just remember that.
Bit bigger. But people do have a bit of a responsibility to work this out by themselves. You can't just rely on seeing an ad and being like, oh, that's probably me. I'm going to get the $250.
And voters should indeed be wary when political parties are presenting their policy the way they want it. But many people heard those favourable figures and the impression that average families would benefit, not from the National Party, but from the media, repeating their words and numbers uncritically. And, as we've heard, also from political editors who praised the party for putting the numbers and words together like that before running the numbers themselves.
There you go. So the media is going, hey, National, why didn't you tell us the truth? Rather than going, oh, shit, we dropped the ball. Now, I am slapping us on the back a little bit for this. Media is because I want to show you. Now, that policy was released on a Sunday. This is a short clip. It's been up on my Twitter for a few days of how we reported it on the Monday, right? Remember us who do journalism as a joke? That should be our new tagline, journalism as a joke. This is how we reported it. Remember, they don't talk about up to at all, right? And they sell the narrative of $250 a fortnight. That's what the mainstream media did for weeks until this week, until 6 weeks after the policy was released. This is us the day after.
Would get a $250 increase per fortnight.
Okay, so I'm furious that the mainstream media is selling National Party talking points.
Yep.
The mainstream media, it's funny, because that's sort of what Colin Peacock was just saying, how what they've been doing, and now they're grumpy about it. Well, this was 24 hours later for us. Yeah, is talking about what you're getting a fortnight. Now, let's be very clear. What this has done, right, this has gone a working couple at $50 a week, which is hard to get to actually. It's more like 40, right? As Nicola Willis tells us later on, it's $40 a week. So a working couple at $40 a week, add in there some new tax credits, because if you've got kids, get to $125, double it, and say, look, it's $250 a fortnight. The minimum wage people, which we'll see at the moment, are getting $20 a fortnight. Why is the media not saying it's $10 a week? Why is the media picking up on the National Party narrative and helping them make it sound better than it is? TVNZ did it and TV3 did it. They did the fortnight thing. The National's being very clever here. They've taken all of their amounts, they've doubled them to make them look more impressive, and then they said a fortnight. I don't know why the fuck they didn't say $500 a month. That would have been even better still. But they decided fortnight is the way to go. And I'm ropeable with the mainstream media that they're just helping the National Party further this conversation, which may be accurate, but they're using some very clever narratives to make it look more impressive than it really is. Remember, be aware though, and we can see this later on in some stuff I show you, they're saying up to $250. That doesn't come out very much in the mainstream media either.
That's an old marketing trick, that is.
Yeah, of course. Based
Save
on
up
a
to.
true story. So think about it this way. That superannuitant couple, it's $26 a fortnight. That's for 2 people. That's $13 a week. That's $6.50 per person per week. So National's done well in their positioning by saying it's $26 a fortnight. If I was to say it's $6.50 per person per week, you'd be like, well, that's fucking nothing. Who cares about that? And I'm annoyed that no one's really, well, I can't say no one. I haven't seen anyone pointing it out yet. Retirees, you're getting $6 each a week. Yet mainstream media is just picking up and running with how National has sold this. So they're helping their narrative. I'm not saying it's inaccurate. I'm just saying they're helping them sound, make it sound more impressive and larger than it really is. So there you go, Chewy. RNZ does a story this week. The media wants to blame other people for their mistakes. And us guys who do journalism as a joke end up the ones who have been doing this the whole time almost, bar anyone else. There's been the odd one here or there. I remember there was literally one AM show that had in very small print up to. I can remember we covered that. But the media hasn't serviced the public well. The CTU did the numbers. Labor hasn't supported the public well. So basically, this is going to sound really arrogant. The CTU have been doing Labor's job and we've been doing the fucking mainstream media's job, Chewy. Why? Yep. What's the case? What's going on?
Like, we've come out of 3, almost 4 years of lots of people going, we don't know why people don't trust the media.
Yeah.
What an excellent time for people to prove why it's the fourth estate. I would expect every time any political party hands out policy to the media that it is then thrown to a pack of wolves who only get paid when they find the lie. And then the news cycle for the next week is, this is the lie we were told. And then what happens there is the political parties go, we don't like this whole wolves eating lies thing, and then we get our shit run on the news for a week. So what we're going to stop doing is telling lies. Like, National has been very clear, ACT has been very clear that they're all about holding the government to account. That is what the media is supposed to do. They're supposed to hold everyone to account, filter out very dense packets of information, and as you said, feed the baby birds, the idiot voters with the pertinent facts. And they haven't done that. And the party that's supposed to be defending their position as the government has not been defending their position very well. And the party that wants to be the government has not been proving their case very well.
No.
Everybody in this should be fucking ashamed of themselves. Like, it's laughable. How big is our pool of hungry lie hunting wolves, Pat?
Huge.
How many do we have? Like, it's you.
Yeah.
And the resources that we can put into that.
So the resources that
Nothing.
we've got, and this is what I've been thinking about over the last few days. Realistically, looking at the money it would cost to run what we do, just me and Chewy, this is a $300,000 operation. That's what it would cost to run this full time for me and Chewy, just 2 of us. Realistically, what we're doing with 2 other staff is a $500,000 operation. I worked out today that between beautiful Patreons, right? Which I love to bits. And this is not a pitch for anything. I'm just telling you guys. And also some merch that we've done. We've probably taken in about $8,000 over 12 months, of which it's probably cost me about $10,000 to $15,000 to run this. So our wolves are probably over 12 months. Our wolves are probably negative $3,000 to $7,000, and that doesn't actually include my time, Chewy. Like if I put my time into it, there'd be a full-time wage on top of that as well. So our wolves are negative $5,000 to $7,000. And for some reason, and look, I don't care if people think we're blowing smoke up our own ass. We seem to be doing the right thing. The mainstream media, to end the story, are saying things like this. This is the day after the tax cuts were announced. Families in line for $250 a fortnight under national tax cuts. That's what the press said. Interest.co.nz. National promises $250 more a fortnight for average households. The Herald said, national tax plan offers an average household with kids $250 and Kiwi worker $50 a fortnight. Literally, just the
BHN
headlines.
commentator coins the phrase flammery.
BHN says, I'm fucking furious at the mainstream media for not telling people what's really going on the day after it was released. And then we tell you.